they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin. Oprah coming next. Once I establish this as a place of truth, oh yeah.
Katt Williams has never been the quiet type, and that's exactly why Hollywood shakes whenever his name comes up. From packed comedy clubs in the early 2000s to viral interviews that light up social media today, Katt's never just told jokes, he's dropped bombs. He's not just a comedian, he's a truth teller with a mic, a man who turned laughter into a weapon and fame into a spotlight for the things most people are scared to say. His battles with giants like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Kevin Hart have set off waves of chaos across Hollywood. Every clash, every interview, every side-eye moment, it all added to his reputation as a man who refuses to bend to the system. He's the one voice they can't silence, the one that cuts through the glitz and fake smiles with straight-up honesty. But let's rewind. How did this all start? When Katt first hit the scene, he wasn't just funny, he was electric. That flashy perm, those bold suits, that wild confidence, he owned every stage he stepped on. His humor hit different because it came from real life, flipping everyday pain into punchlines that cut deep. But even back then, behind the swagger and laughter, he was building something bigger than fame. He was building a platform for truth. Unlike most comics chasing TV deals and Hollywood validation, Katt was fearless about calling out the game. By the mid-2000s, people realized this man wasn't just a comedian. He was a problem for anyone hiding behind the curtain. He's accused the industry of exploiting black talent, rewarding those who play the role and punishing those who won't play the puppet. He said it loud and clear, the system's rigged. Williams claimed to have insider knowledge, the kind that exposes the power brokers pulling the strings while pretending to uplift the culture. He talked about the networks of gatekeepers, the secret deals, and the quiet backroom favoritism that decides who shines and who gets erased. Katt Williams didn't just break into Hollywood, he kicked the door open and dared everyone to look inside. On stage or in interviews, Katt Williams didn't just make people laugh. He cut through the noise with conviction so sharp it made crowds freeze mid-laugh. When he spoke about corruption, it wasn't a punchline, it was a warning. Every time he grabbed that mic, you could feel he wasn't just entertaining, he was educating. Some fans laughed, sure, but plenty walked away thinking, yo, he's telling the truth. The way he flipped real pain into comedy had people questioning everything they thought they knew about Hollywood. But here's where it got dark, because instead of listening to his message, the media tried to paint him like a joke. Headlines started spinning the narrative. Katt Williams loses it again, or Katt's gone too far. Suddenly, he wasn't a whistleblower anymore. He was unstable, difficult, unpredictable. The classic Hollywood playbook, discredit the truth teller before he exposes the truth.
They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves.
Even Saturday Night Live jumped in, mocking his look, his voice, his swagger. They turned him into a caricature for laughs, but Katt saw through it. He said those skits weren't harmless at all. They were strategic smears, meant to break his image and make fans doubt his credibility. They don't parody the powerful unless they're scared of them, he once implied, and man, that line hit hard. But Katt didn't back down. He doubled down. Then came the celebrity clashes that turned Hollywood upside down. One of the first, his war of words with Steve Harvey. Katt accused Steve of stealing jokes from comedian Mark Curry, an allegation that had the comedy world gasping. He said Harvey wasn't original and cared more about protecting his empire than the art itself. That shot hit deep, because it wasn't just about jokes, it was about principles. Williams stood on one thing, integrity. He wasn't trying to fit in, he was trying to stand out by being real. And even when critics called him reckless, fans knew what it was. They saw a man who refused to play nice just to keep his seat at the table. To them, Katt was defending the soul of comedy. By the late 2000s, he wasn't just a comic anymore, he was a symbol, a lightning rod for truth in a town built on illusion. Love him or hate him, you couldn't ignore him. He had turned his fame into a megaphone, blasting the secrets of an industry that thrived on silence. Katt's whistleblower role became even more explosive when he started naming names, big names. Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, each clash sent shockwaves across Hollywood. He didn't throw shade, he threw truth grenades, and each one revealed more about what he believed was wrong with the system, that it was never built for fairness. It was built to protect a chosen few while everyone else fought for scraps.
Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
Katt Williams wasn't just making noise, he was making enemies. But to him, that was proof he was doing something right. Every word, every feud, every headline, it all added to the storm he was building. And trust me, the thunder was only just beginning to rumble. The feud with Oprah Winfrey stunned everyone. Katt Williams didn't just throw shade, he threw a full spotlight on one of the most powerful women in entertainment. He accused Oprah of using her massive influence to silence artists she didn't approve of, even claiming she tried to organize a boycott against rapper 50 Cent. That allegation hit like a bomb because if true, it meant Oprah wasn't just running daytime TV, she was running the board behind the scenes. Katt believed her power stretched way beyond talk shows and book clubs. He said she had the reach to decide who could thrive in Hollywood and who got quietly blacklisted. Whether people agreed or not, the internet went crazy. Forums blew up with fans debating if Katt was finally saying what others were too scared to say or if he was simply stirring the pot. Some called him brave, others said he'd lost it. But one thing's for sure, he had everyone's attention. Then came his clash with Tyler Perry, and that one got messy. Katt didn't mince words. He called out Perry's casting choices and production style, claiming his empire was built on favoritism, secret deals, and politics. Instead of pure talent, he said too many gifted actors were getting shut out simply because they wouldn't play by Perry's rules. During one heated appearance alongside Terrence Howard, Katt went even further, accusing Perry of harboring insecurities and suppressing other black actors to stay at the top. That sent shockwaves through Hollywood's black creative community. Fans jumped to Perry's defense, pointing out how many careers he'd launched, but Katt fired back, saying the price of Perry's success was too high. He claimed it came at the expense of integrity, authenticity, and the creative freedom of others who dared to step outside Perry's orbit. But the feud that just wouldn't die? Kevin Hart. That one became personal, public, and downright explosive. Katt accused Kevin of taking movie roles that were supposed to be his and called him Hollywood's chosen one. He said Hart wasn't just a comedian, he was a corporate product, handpicked to make the industry look diverse while keeping things safe.
If you have real problems with people, and your problems are like serious, it's not hard to ever get to a person and really like address the problem correctly. The problems that people have with me, they aren't my problem.
According to Katt, Hart's rise wasn't organic, it was orchestrated. Williams described Kevin's career as engineered for comfort, not for truth. He claimed Kevin's success represented a softer version of black comedy, one the industry could control, market, and profit from without fear. When Hart finally responded, it was smooth, calm, and businesslike, almost too calm. He told reporters he didn't take Katt's words seriously and was focused on his own blessings, not on the noise. But to Katt, that was the problem. He saw Hart's silence as proof that Hollywood rewards those who play nice while silencing the ones who speak up. To the public, it looked like a feud, but to Katt Williams, it was a fight for the soul of comedy. He believed every joke, every clash, and every accusation exposed how Hollywood built its empire by choosing who to crown and who to crush. And in his eyes, he wasn't just another comedian throwing shots. He was the last one still brave enough to say what everyone else was too scared to whisper. They aren't my problems. That's how Katt Williams summed it up. Cold, confident, and ready for war. Every feud he touched circled the same truth. Katt versus the Hollywood machine. Whether it was Oprah allegedly pulling strings, Tyler Perry running his empire like a private club, or Kevin Hart playing the industry's safe face of comedy, Katt saw himself as the only one bold enough to call it like it is. And every time he opened his mouth, the walls in Hollywood seemed to shake a little louder. By now, Katt had become a walking headline because people weren't just laughing at his jokes anymore. They were waiting to see who he'd expose next. The more he spoke, the more the entertainment world got nervous. His words weren't gossip, they were grenades. But if there was ever proof that Katt Williams had zero fear of confrontation, it was his ongoing war with Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer. Both men were household names, kings of sitcoms, talk shows, and comedy stages. But to Katt, they weren't kings. They were the court jesters of a system that rewarded fakeness. He saw them as symbols of everything wrong with the game, cutting corners, recycling other people's jokes, and selling audiences an image built more on branding than on truth. Katt straight up accused Steve Harvey of stealing material. Not just from him, but from fellow comedian Mark Curry, too.
The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit.
He said Harvey exaggerated his rags to riches story to sound more inspiring than it really was, and to Katt, that was pure fraud. Comedy's supposed to be real, he once said, not a fairy tale for ratings. Fans online went wild dissecting the accusations. Some claimed Steve had built his empire on other people's creativity, while others said Katt was just stirring drama. But one thing was clear: Williams never backed down. His stance stayed solid. Comedy should be rooted in truth, and Steve, in his eyes, had lost that spark. Then the feud turned personal. Katt claimed both Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer had admitted in private to stealing jokes, but never took accountability in public. That crossed the line for Katt. He said their silence was worse than the theft because it showed how Hollywood protects its favorites while punishing those who speak up. Cedric wasn't having it, though. He fired back, denying everything and brushing Katt off like the claims were beneath him. The tension hit its peak when Katt accused Cedric of stealing one of his best bits, a routine that later showed up in the 2000 classic The Original Kings of Comedy. Fans dug up old clips and started comparing jokes side by side, and the internet turned into a courtroom overnight. Cedric shrugged it off, saying if he had a problem, he should have said something back then. But Katt wasn't buying it. To him, that response proved how deep the dishonesty ran. It wasn't about one joke, it was about the whole system, one where the loudest voices got muted and the most honest ones got labeled crazy. This wasn't just comedian versus comedian anymore. It was Katt Williams versus Hollywood's illusion of integrity.
I can't do that because Steve told you that he stopped doing stand-up because he had 7 TV shows. The only problem is when he stopped stand-up, he didn't have those 7 TV shows. He stopped stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people and lost because Katt Williams said he was actually bald and that was a wig, and I went in, and that's why he couldn't do stand-up anymore.
And with every name he called out, every truth he dropped, it became clear. Katt wasn't just fighting for himself, he was fighting to remind comedy what real looked like. To Cedric, the whole drama was ancient history, something he brushed off like dust on his jacket. But his denial only poured gasoline on a fire that Katt Williams had no intention of letting burn out. Every time Cedric dismissed it, Katt came back harder, doubling down in interviews and reminding everyone that this wasn't just about a stolen joke, it was about respect. Katt saw the situation as bigger than comedy beef. It was about integrity and authenticity. To him, Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer weren't just 2 comedians. They were symbols of a Hollywood pattern where the polished, brand-safe faces thrived, while the raw, unfiltered ones got blackballed. They take from the streets, clean it up, and sell it back like it's theirs, he once snapped during a radio rant, and fans felt that. Williams made it clear this wasn't personal, it was principle. He believed Harvey and Cedric represented everything fake about fame, the illusion of originality, the recycling of ideas, and the rewriting of history. And while they sat comfortably as comedy royalty, Katt was out here fighting for the soul of the craft. Steve Harvey tried to stay above the chaos, refusing to comment publicly. To some, that silence looked mature, a sign he didn't want to feed the fire. But others saw it as suspicious, like maybe Steve didn't want to risk reopening wounds that could scratch his squeaky clean motivational TV image. Online threads exploded with theories, some saying he was being the bigger man, others whispering that silence can sometimes say too much. The Williams-Harvey-Cedric saga became one of the most talked about feuds in modern comedy. It wasn't just about jokes anymore, it was about credibility, creative ownership, and legacy. The kind of dispute that made people pick sides. Was Katt too reckless? Or was he the only one brave enough to say what every comic was thinking, but too scared to admit? By the time the dust started to settle, Katt's image as Hollywood's loudest whistleblower had reached legendary status. He wasn't just the comic with wild hair and sharper punchlines. He was the truth teller, the rebel, the man with nothing left to lose. Whether you believed every word or not, one thing was undeniable. Katt Williams wasn't afraid of anyone. His unpredictability made him dangerous to anyone trying to protect a spotless public image. But then came another twist. His name started being linked with none other than Dave Chappelle. Fans began drawing parallels between the two. Both were outsiders, both refused to play Hollywood's game, and both paid the price for it. But their relationship wasn't all brotherhood and unity. It was complicated. At times, Katt openly praised Chappelle, calling him a hero for walking away from the machine. But other times, he questioned whether that famous 2005 move, turning down a $50 million Comedy Central deal, was really the noble act the media painted it to be. Was Chappelle escaping exploitation or simply making a power play on his own terms? Katt didn't say it with malice. He said it like a man who'd seen too much to believe in fairy tales anymore. That moment where one truth teller started questioning another proved something wild. Even in a world built on laughter, honesty is still dangerous. And in Hollywood, nobody handled that danger quite like Katt Williams. In 2024, Katt Williams sat down with Shannon Sharpe on the Club Shay Shay podcast, and that conversation had everyone talking. He spoke directly about Dave Chappelle's decision to walk away from that massive $50 million Comedy Central deal years ago, and for once, Katt didn't come with smoke. He came with respect. "I respect him for walking away from the money," Williams said firmly, his tone dead serious. He explained how the pressure in Hollywood can crush even the strongest minds, and it takes real courage to walk away from that kind of power. To him, Chappelle's decision wasn't just bold, it was historic. Fans felt that moment deeply. It sounded like a truce, maybe even an olive branch. Katt was giving props to another man who refused to let fame control him. Both had been bruised by the industry. Both had been branded difficult. And in that instant, it felt like two soldiers from the same war acknowledging each other's scars. But you know Katt, he never leaves a conversation that simple. In other interviews, he began hinting that maybe, just maybe, Chappelle's exit from Comedy Central wasn't as voluntary as people thought. He claimed the evidence suggested that powerful figures behind the scenes could have influenced that decision. In his eyes, Chappelle might not have walked away by choice. He might have been pushed. Katt questioned everything. Was Dave's departure really about personal integrity, or was it about industry control? Was he resisting corruption or escaping pressure from the same system that crushes anyone who refuses to play ball? That's what made the conversation so wild. Fans online split right down the middle, half agreeing with Katt's suspicions, half defending Chappelle as the ultimate rebel who took back his freedom. Then, things took another twist when Dave finally clapped back. During a surprise performance at the Hollywood Improv, later that same year, Chappelle addressed the situation head-on, without ever saying Katt's name. But everyone in the room knew exactly who he was talking about. He said, "He only ever eats niggers. He don't say nothing about these white boys." The crowd gasped. It was sharp, it was cutting, and it made his point crystal clear. Chappelle was basically saying Katt spent too much time going after other black comedians instead of the system itself. Then he doubled down. "We're comedians. We don't attack each other." He urged for unity, not division, making it clear that the real enemy wasn't each other. It was the machine running the show. That moment revealed just how complicated their relationship really was. Both men were rebels in their own right, truth tellers who refused to bow to Hollywood's control. Both had walked through the same fire, but they didn't always agree on how to fight it. Chappelle believed in quiet resistance, using humor and distance to make his statement. Williams, on the other hand, believed in calling names and breaking doors down if that's what it took. Two geniuses, same battlefield, but two very different war strategies. And that's what made this chapter in Katt's story so fascinating. Because even among the fearless, there's no rule book for fighting back against Hollywood's grip. Katt Williams always believed in calling out people directly. If someone crossed the line, he said their name, plain and simple. He wasn't about quiet diplomacy. He wanted accountability, one person at a time. Dave Chappelle, on the other hand, played the long game. He believed comedians should stand together, not tear each other down, and use their voices to attack the system, not the individuals trapped inside it. Their styles clashed, but their message was the same. Hollywood ain't what it looks like. Chappelle's 2021 Netflix special, The Closer, lit up the internet like wildfire. It sparked endless debates about censorship, cancel culture, and creative freedom. And while the world argued about his jokes, Katt Williams was out there on his Heaven on Earth tour calling out something even deeper. He said the real issue wasn't cancel culture, it was control culture. He warned fans about the exploitation, favoritism, and dishonesty hiding beneath the glamour. Both men, in their own ways, were fighting the same monster, one through sharp silence, the other through raw confrontation. Even when they disagreed, they were still fighting the same war. Chappelle used subtlety and irony. Katt used fire and fury. One spoke in riddles, the other shouted from the rooftops. But together, their impact was undeniable. Hollywood could ignore a whisper, but not a roar. And between the two of them, that roar got loud. But Katt's whistleblower legacy didn't stop with words. It showed up in his work. He wasn't just exposing people, he was protecting his own art too. And one of the boldest examples of that happened back in 2002 on the set of Friday After Next. That movie, part of Ice Cube's Friday franchise, gave us Katt's unforgettable breakout role as Money Mike, the sharp-talking, silk suit-wearing pimp with a punchline for every situation. The performance became iconic, funny, slick, and full of charisma. But what fans didn't know was that behind the scenes, Katt was fighting a quiet battle that could have changed the entire tone of the film. According to Williams, the original script included a disturbing scene where his character was supposed to be sexually assaulted. He said it flat out didn't belong. Not in a comedy, not in that story, not at all. To him, that kind of humor wasn't just inappropriate, it was wrong. Katt pushed back hard. He confronted producers, challenged the creative direction, and refused to shoot the scene. He told them the joke wasn't funny. It was exploitative, lazy, and disrespectful. That moment tested everything he stood for. Most actors would have stayed quiet to keep their role, but Katt risked it all to protect the integrity of the film. His defiance paid off. The scene got cut. The final version never included that dark moment, and Friday After Next went on to become a comedy classic. Funny, wild, and completely unfiltered, without crossing the line. Years later, when fans learned the truth, many praised Williams for standing firm when it mattered most. That story proved that his whistleblower energy wasn't just talk, it was action. Even early in his career, Katt was showing Hollywood that he wasn't just another comedian chasing fame. He was a man with boundaries, with values, and with the courage to say no when everyone else stayed silent. For Katt Williams, that deleted Friday After Next scene wasn't just a small behind-the-scenes story. It was a defining moment. It proved that even when the cameras weren't rolling, he cared more about ethics than easy laughs. He showed that even as a fresh face in a major franchise, he wouldn't sell out his morals just to keep a job. That one decision spoke volumes. He was the kind of man who'd walk away from a paycheck before walking away from his principles. Years later, when fans found out about it, they saw it as pure authenticity. This wasn't a comedian chasing fame. This was someone standing up for what he believed in when everyone else was too scared to speak. People pointed to that moment as proof that Katt Williams wasn't fake, wasn't calculated. He was real. But his sense of integrity didn't stop on movie sets. It carried straight into his interviews, his stand-up, and his public battles. Katt started challenging the very idea of cancel culture itself. While the world argued about who should be canceled, Williams came in with a whole different take. He said cancel culture wasn't the problem. It was a distraction. According to him, the people being canceled were often the ones with the least power anyway, while the real gatekeepers behind the curtain stayed untouched. They cancel the pawns, not the kings, he once said. In his view, the focus should have always been on the executives, producers, and power players controlling everything from behind the scenes, not the performers, just trying to survive the system. That mindset separated him from the crowd. At a time when most celebrities were apologizing, backtracking, or going silent to protect their image, Katt Williams did the exact opposite. He doubled down. He spoke his truth, unfiltered and fearless no matter how uncomfortable it made people. For him, comedy wasn't supposed to be safe. It was supposed to be honest. And honesty doesn't come with a safety net. If you're telling the truth, somebody's gonna get mad, he once joked, and the crowd erupted because they knew he meant it. That same energy carried straight into his Heaven on Earth tour. On stage, Katt mixed razor-sharp humor with brutal honesty about the industry he'd survived for decades. 1 minute, he'd have the crowd howling in laughter, and the next, he'd drop a truth so raw that the whole room went silent. He called out how Hollywood exploits its talent, manipulates media narratives, and sells lies dressed up as success stories. He exposed how hard it is to stay authentic in an industry built on illusion. Through all the laughter, one message echoed louder than the rest. He would never let Hollywood dictate his morals. Whether it was cutting out a tasteless joke from a blockbuster movie, refusing to apologize for telling the truth, or standing firm while everyone else folded, Katt Williams made it clear. He wasn't just playing the game, he was rewriting the rules. When the spotlight got too hot, most comedians played it safe, but not Katt Williams. He drew a bold line in the sand, the kind few ever dared to cross in an industry built on silence and compromise. While others protected their careers, Katt protected his voice. He proved that his words couldn't be bought, censored, or controlled, no matter how big the check or how powerful the name. By the time the 2020s hit, Katt Williams wasn't just another comic, he was a movement. His reputation had evolved into something untouchable and dangerous. Fans didn't just see him as a performer anymore, they saw him as a truth teller, the man who said what everyone else whispered about in back rooms and studio hallways. And that's exactly why so many celebrities, executives, and insiders were scared of him. Katt didn't play by Hollywood's rules. He flipped the whole table over. He made enemies at every level, from boardrooms to green rooms, and his refusal to back down made him unpredictable, a wild card that the industry couldn't control. Take his never-ending feud with Kevin Hart, for example. Even comedy legend Eddie Murphy once chimed in about it, saying Hart had good reason to be cautious around Katt. That single comment from Murphy sent fans into a frenzy. Because if a legend like Eddie saw something dangerous in Katt's honesty, maybe the rest of Hollywood did too. To many fans, it wasn't just a rivalry, it was symbolic. Kevin Hart represented the polished, Hollywood-approved version of success, clean, calculated, and brand safe. Katt Williams, on the other hand, was raw truth personified. Every time he spoke Kevin's name, it was like a lightning bolt hitting the industry. Hart's image of mainstream perfection couldn't exist peacefully next to Katt's explosive authenticity. And that's what made their feud so fascinating. Hart had control, but Katt had conviction. Every time Williams spoke, it reminded fans that not all fame comes with freedom and not all silence equals peace. Even Ice Cube, a heavyweight in both film and music, publicly acknowledged what made Katt so unique. He hinted that powerful figures like Oprah Winfrey avoided direct confrontation with Williams for a reason. Soon after, clips started circulating online showing Oprah sidestepping mentions of Katt entirely. Fans jumped on it instantly, saying even she didn't want that smoke. To Williams' supporters, this was the ultimate proof. His words carried real power. When someone like Oprah, with her global influence, chose not to respond, it only made Katt's voice echo louder, and it didn't stop there. Internet debates started dragging more names into the mix. Actors like Marlon Wayans and Taraji P. Henson suddenly found themselves trending because fans noticed how carefully they tiptoed around Katt's name. Online theories popped up claiming that even the most confident celebrities were cautious, terrified of what Katt might say if provoked. It became a running joke and a serious truth all at once. Mess with Katt Williams and he will speak his mind. Whether you were a comedian, a movie star, or a media mogul, one thing was certain. If you were hiding something you did not want Katt Williams to find out, it's not confirmed, but everyone online seems to agree on one thing. Hollywood's biggest names do not want smoke with Katt Williams.
People together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up? Oh, he's right there.
One viral post summed it up perfectly. If Katt says your name, it's over. And honestly, they weren't lying. Katt had already proven no name was too big, too sacred, or too powerful to be called out. He was the kind of man who'd speak the truth even if it set the whole room on fire. But while fans celebrated his courage and unfiltered honesty, tragedy struck his world in a way nobody saw coming. In August 2025, shocking news broke. Comedian Reggie Carroll, a performer closely tied to Katt's Heaven on Earth tour, had been fatally shot. The headline hit like a gut punch. Comedian Reggie Carroll has died. He was 52 years old. Reports quickly identified the suspect as Katt Williams, a security guard who had been working for Katt at the time. The revelation stunned fans and cast a dark shadow over the tour that had once been a symbol of rebellion and truth-telling. Overnight, the laughter stopped and the whispers began. The industry went into overdrive, with tabloids spinning stories and social media lighting up with wild speculation. Some fans said the tragedy showed just how chaotic and dangerous life had become around Katt, like his truth-telling energy pulled in both light and darkness. Others pointed out something deeper, that even in a moment of loss, the media seemed more obsessed with drama than compassion. Instead of mourning Reggie Carroll, headlines focused on Katt Williams as if tragedy itself was just another controversy. Despite the heartbreak and negative press, Katt didn't slow down. He doubled down. He called 2024 and 2025 the age of truth, urging fans to look past Hollywood's glitter and start asking real questions about the power structures controlling the game. He said people had to stop idolizing fame and start paying attention to the manipulation hiding behind the smiles and red carpets. To his supporters, that was the moment Katt fully transcended comedy. He wasn't just telling jokes anymore, he was leading a movement. They saw him as a whistleblower with a mic, determined to shine light on corruption, hypocrisy, and exploitation, no matter how uncomfortable it made the elites. But that same raw honesty made him one of the most polarizing figures in entertainment. Today, Katt Williams stands at a rare crossroads, loved by fans for his brutal truth, feared by celebrities for that same reason. You can debate him, mock him, even avoid him, but you can't ignore him. He's built a legacy on defiance, and whether you see him as fearless or reckless, one thing's certain: Hollywood listens when he speaks. Because when Katt Williams says your name, he's not just starting a conversation, he's starting a storm. And when that storm hits, the whole world watches. At this point, Katt Williams isn't just a comedian. He's a movement wrapped in chaos, conviction, and raw truth. His name alone sends ripples through Hollywood because when Katt speaks, people listen, even the ones pretending not to. He's become the mirror that the industry can't stand to look into, reflecting every hidden deal, every double standard, every mask that fame tries to hide behind. Hollywood built its empire on illusion, but Katt turned that illusion into his battleground. He's the reminder that integrity still has a voice, even if that voice shakes the system. And no matter how many scandals try to follow him, one thing's clear: he doesn't fold, doesn't flinch, doesn't fake. Every stage he steps on feels less like a comedy show and more like a confession from the heart of the culture itself. From feuds with giants like Oprah, Steve Harvey, and Kevin Hart, to standing up for himself on movie sets and calling out the industry's games, Katt's never been afraid to put it all on the line. Whether people call him crazy or courageous, he's earned something that Hollywood can't manufacture: respect born from truth. So now the question isn't whether Hollywood fears Katt Williams, it's how long they can keep pretending they don't. Because every time they try to silence him, he gets louder. Every time they try to box him out, he breaks another wall. Katt Williams didn't just survive Hollywood, he exposed it. He turned pain into performance, truth into comedy, and comedy into revolution. And the world's still trying to catch up. If you've made it this far, you already know this story isn't just about jokes or beefs. It's about power, truth, and the cost of refusing to play by their rules. And trust me, the next time Katt Williams grabs a mic, the whole industry's gonna hold its breath. If this saga had you shook, wait till you see what's next. You already know what it is. BarzBuzz got the real, raw, and unfiltered breakdowns. So don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to catch up.